Starship is torn in two as Elon talks about the future. Starlink goes to heaven as Falcon Heavy goes nowhere. And we finish with today's honorable mention. I'm Kevin, and this is a breaking episode of SpaceX in the News. Road closures from Cameron County were posted this week for as early as October 9th. Could be for Starship Super Heavy's pre-flight tests, but I'm leaning toward testing for the finless Ship 26 resting on a test pad adjacent to the tower. I don't know, bro, what are you asking me for? SpaceX posted on Sunday that Starship is stacked, again, at Starbase ahead of flight. Team continues to work with the FAA on a launch license. Booster 9 gave a wave to Lab Padre's rover cam on Tuesday, and Elon, barely able to contain himself, reposted Starship ready for flight 2! Well, earlier today, Starship was destacked again at Starbase for unknown reasons. Perhaps for S-26's potential testing next week, but again, how am I supposed to know? Why are you asking me? And Cybertruck made an appearance at the launch site for a major upgrade of its own. Look closely or you may miss it. Tesla marketing is genius, knowing Starbase is always being live streamed by an army of gawkers. The only thing that will make Cybertruck uncool are all the nerds that will be driving them.
Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. Shuttlecraft, disengage.
Also earlier today, Musk made an appearance at IAC2023 to speak on all things Starship. And he spoke about the new hot staging technique they'll be trying out for this next launch attempt and the odds of success.
So hot staging would mean that we light the ship or upper stage engines while the boost engines are still partially thrusting. So we throttle down and shut down most of the booster engines. Then we light the ship engines, and there's a vent area which looks comically small, actually, which hopefully is enough, because you're essentially blasting the top of the booster with the ship. Now this is actually, from a physics standpoint, the most efficient way to do stage separation. But of course, this is the first time we're doing it, so I would say that's the riskiest part of the flight. If the engine's light and the ship doesn't blow itself up during stage step, then I think we've got a decent chance of reaching orbit.
He also gave us an Elon estimation on when SpaceX will begin using the tower to catch the two halves of the rocket.
Is success possible? Yes, I think it's possible. In terms of catching it, I think for the ship, it'll be when we see the ship landing at a precise position in the water. That's when we will try to catch the ship with our Mechazilla on the tower. The booster, obviously, booster flights we've done many times on Falcon 9, so we're much more familiar and have a much higher confidence with booster recovery. I think that there's a decent chance, depending on when our licenses are granted, that we would catch the booster within the next year, or maybe less than a year, and then hopefully, if we get lucky, we might catch the ship towards the end of next year.
When Starlink satellites will come aboard Starship.
I think there's a good chance we start deploying Starlink V3 satellites next year, in roughly a year from now.
And his latest speculation on Mars.
So I think it's sort of feasible within the next 4 years to do an uncrewed test landing there. Yeah.
He informed us the vehicle will be receiving some more oomph.
So Saturn V in the sort of old Imperial system would have been 7.5 million pounds of thrust. We're at about 16 right now, and we with future engine upgrades, we'll take that to about 20 million pounds of thrust.
And finally, what the future holds for the EVA suit his company is currently developing for the first commercial spacewalk on Polaris Dawn. We
do expect to evolve that to be something that can be an EVA suit on the ground on the Moon and Mars.
Moving right along now. Falcon Heavy was expected to lift off this week, but after her static fire at Pad 39A, NASA, their customer, announced they were pushing the mission to the 12th to provide engineers additional time to verify cold gas thruster perimeters. So before that launch date comes around, a couple more Falcon 9 rockets are supposed to carry 2 more flocks of Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit, just as the vehicle has been doing over the past several weeks. For instance, on the left side of your screen, Falcon 9 launched 22 Starlink sats from Slick 40, Florida on Friday evening, the booster flying for its 10th time. And on the right, another 22 were hoisted from the same pad early this morning. 'Twas the 8th flight for this first stage. Elon then posted on X that SpaceX is tracking to deliver about 1,600 tons of payload to orbit this year. The rest of the world will deliver but a quarter of that, most of which is by China.
China.
But now it's time for today's honorable mention. It's been a week for Rocket Lab. First, the company completed a cryogenic test for a Neutron second stage, filling it with liquid nitrogen to expected flight pressures, then pushing it to failure. One of those rare times when someone can claim they passed with flying colors after failing. The Neutron rocket, of course, will be the company's fully reusable Starship alternative, but smaller. Then on Wednesday, they officially opened the new Engine Development Center in Long Beach. The complex will support high-rate production of Electron's Rutherford engine and development and production of Neutron's Archimedes engine. And that'd be it for this week. Do have a nominal Friday on your way to the weekend. And until next time, Godspeed.